Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the equation of a circle, and we're going to determine the radius and the center of the following three circles. So the first one is pretty simple. Notice that x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared is a format that we can put all circles in if it's not already in that format. And for every circle, the center is always going to be h comma k, and the radius is just r, right? So the radius is whatever r is. And so since we have r squared at the end, we can just take the square root of that to get r, to get the radius. So for example, for the first one, the center would be 2, -3. Just by looking at these numbers, I can tell that right away. And the radius is going to be the square root of 25 here at the end, which is equal to +5. Now here, since we're talking about the context of a radius of a circle, we don't need to do plus or -5. We should only consider the positive answer here, so just +5. Okay, we can do the same thing for the second one. We can say, well, the center is going to be -6 and +1. The radius is going to be the square root of 9, which is 3. And there we go. We've stated the center and the radius already. Now, this third one is a bit more challenging because it's not immediately obvious what the center and radius is, because this is not in the correct format in order for us to find the center and radius. So what we're going to have to do is change it into this format. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to complete the square twice. We're going to do it for the x term and the y term. So let's get into how we would do that. So to complete the square of this one, the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to take the non-leading coefficient of x and the non-leading coefficient of y, and we're going to divide them by 2 and square them. And however much that is, that's the amount that we should add to both sides. Now in this case, 12 is already added to this side, and so we can also take that into account if we wish as well. So for this one here, we have -6 as the non-leading coefficient of the x's and -4 as the non-leading coefficient of the y's. So we have to take both these numbers, divide them by 2, and square them. So -6 divided by 2 squared is -3 squared, which is 9. And then -4 over 2 squared is equal to -2 squared, which is equal to 4. So what we want to do is we want to have +13 added to both sides, because 9 plus 4 is equal to 13. Now what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to say, well, hey, we already have 12 added. We would really just have to add 1 to both sides in order to get 13. So I can rewrite this as x squared minus 6x plus y squared minus 4y plus 13 is equal to 1, right? Because all I did here is I added 1 to both of these. I added 1 to both sides. Now I'm going to disperse this 13 in the following manner. Notice that when we did -6 divided by 2 squared, we got +9. So I'm going to take this 13, I'm going to put 9 of it next to the x terms. And then I'm going to put the other 4 of it with the y terms. So all I've done is I rewrote the same equation again, except I switched from 13, which we had here, and I split it up into 4 and 9, because those are the numbers we found. Then I'm going to finish the completing the square process. Oh, sorry, and there should be, I dropped the plus sign here for some reason. We're going to finish the completing the square process by recalling that a squared plus b, that a plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Also recall that a minus b squared is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So I'm going to do that with the x terms and the y terms separately. So if we use that formula for the x terms, we get x minus 3 squared. And if we do that for the y terms, we get y minus 2 squared. And there we go. So now we have completed the square and we now have this in the proper format. So now I'm just going to go back to our original general equation here, back up to the top, and remind myself that the center is going to be h comma k and the radius is going to be r. So going back to this question here, that means the center is going to be 3 comma 2 and the radius is going to be equal to the square root of 1, which is equal to 1. So therefore, the center is 3, 2, and the radius is 1 for that third equation there. If you have any questions about any of that, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and we'll see you for the next one.